Welcome to the thematic talk session, Hong Kong, a breeding ground for innovation at Entrepreneur Day 2020. The session will begin shortly and will be conducted in English with our simultaneous interpretation services. 歡迎各位出席創業日2020嘅創科機遇在香港論壇即將開始，並且以英語進行，不設即時傳譯服務。During the session, you are welcome to raise questions through the Q&A box next to the video frame. Selected questions will be asked at the Q&A section towards the end. 論壇期間，大家可以隨時喺直播畫面旁邊嘅 Q&A 位置提問，我哋將會喺稍後嘅問答環節代為發問。Hong Kong, as a thriving startup hub, offers different incubation programs to nurture entrepreneurs for long-term growth. Startup community builder WHub and incubators like Cyberport and Hong Kong Science Park will share the concerted effort that contribute to startup success and growth of the ecosystem. Without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Karena Belin, CEO and co-founder of WHub, to share with us. Karena, please.
Thank you very much. It's my great pleasure to be here. Congratulations to the team at HKTDC and Eday on making Eday happen, now fully online. So I have the pleasure to kickstart this conversation on talking about the wonderful opportunities of the startup ecosystem here in Hong Kong. So I'm co-founder of WHub. We define our mission in terms of helping startups to grow and scale their business by connecting them to all the resources they need to do so. And we set out with the mission on bringing Hong Kong startup ecosystem onto the global map of startup ecosystems, the place where it belongs and deserves to be. With our partnership network of over 500 partners around the world, we are also happy to send our startups overseas, but moreover welcome any entrepreneur and founding team here into Hong Kong and leverage the great opportunities. So for all those who are stakeholders and interested also in how they can get in touch with startups, please do reach out to us. We're very happy to connect corporates, governments, and any type of stakeholders to the ecosystem. Now, one of the things that we said is, when we define our mission on helping startups grow and scale, we also need to help startups to fundraise. And we launched Angel Hub. I'm also the co-founder of Angel Hub, who is Hong Kong's very first and still only SFC-regulated equity crowdfunding platform for professional investors and any growth stage company, not only Hong Kong-based growth stage companies, to fundraise. And we're solving the problem of time, access, and know-how not only for startups, but also for investors, really democratizing access. And that is one of the very reasons why education comes first in what we do. And we had the pleasure to have Jason Calacanis last year at Startup Impact Summit and this year again at Startup Impact Summit to also help investors to understand how they can benefit from that very distinct asset class and opportunity that startups represent. But enough about myself and back to the startup community here in Hong Kong and the ecosystem and its wonderful opportunities. So I'll start with what we love to do, showcasing the teams, the founders, and their voice. And I can tell you, how fascinated I am and passionate about the opportunities here, but why not directly ask the founders and the founding teams to talk about why they really benefit from Hong Kong and the resources and as a platform to scale their companies regionally and even globally. So what you will see is everybody will agree that Hong Kong is really welcoming. It's easy to do business, it's safe, and the DNA of people are really skewed and tailored towards networking and doing business, very pragmatic. And people would really highlight the sophistication of talent, but also the customer base. And I'll talk about why Hong Kong in a few slides later. Very often the question is, well, why Hong Kong? It's relatively small, only 7 million people. But I would argue that's exactly the reason why for startups, when you're in search for a product market fit and you're trying to understand if your solution can possibly get any traction, you can leverage the high density and connectivity of Hong Kong to test, pivot, and then scale your company. Now, again, in terms of what are all the wonderful resources you have, well, let's see actually what we were able to produce in a relatively short amount of time. So in a few years, Hong Kong really did become a global player in the startup ecosystem. And to talk about some of our world's first and records, it is great to say that for a population of 7 million people giving birth to 9 unicorns probably brings us to the highest density of unicorns per capita in the world. And we'll talk about the huge diversity as well in Hong Kong. So you can see, even if we just take our unicorns as an example, they come from various sectors. So it's not only about fintech, even though 4 of these are fintech companies, but we also have logistics, travel tech companies in that space. Now, again, we still hold, with Sense Time, the record in terms of having the highest value AI company in the globe operating here out of Hong Kong and the region. Still, the highest Series A fintech raise with over $150 million was raised by a Hong Kong-based company, T&G. Now, only few may recall that the record in ICO, once back a few years when ICOs became very, very popular, was actually not Telegram, it was Block One, who is partially headquartered in Silicon Valley and partially here in Hong Kong. And they raised not 2 billion, such as Telegram, but 4 billion. Now, I mentioned that Hong Kong is not only about fintech, but fintech surely is one of the focus sectors and also one of the areas where a lot of great resources are available to scale companies in the fintech sector. And 2019 definitely was a year for fintech here in Hong Kong. We could see several of the regulators, the HKMA in the banking sector, issued 8 virtual banking licenses, including to one of our homegrown fintech unicorns, WeLab. The insurance authorities also issued several virtual insurance licenses. And I know we have Fred later on here on the panel as well from Bowtie, so who actually was really the first one to achieve this very important milestone. And then again, the fact that the regulators opened up sandboxes and put contact points in place also allowed for AngelHub to get the very first SFC license for equity crowdfunding. But even if we look, again, into other technologies and industries, we can see that some of the acceleration programs decided consciously to set up their headquarters in Hong Kong and start their arguably regional and global mission out of Hong Kong. So if we look into Zeroth.ai, world's very first AI-focused acceleration program, is headquartered here in Hong Kong. And Helix, which is an acceleration program based on hashgraph technology as one of blockchain protocols, is based here out of Hong Kong. Now, we just closed the Startup Me Up Hong Kong Festival with WHub proudly presenting Startup Impact Summit. The other big conference now is Eday, of course, and I'm glad you're all taking advantage of it. But in the fall, there's another great big milestone for any fintech-related companies where the Hong Kong FinTech Week this year, again, will be cross-border. So partially in Hong Kong and Shenzhen, and partially online and partially offline. Fingers crossed on that. So again, why have we been able to produce such amazing results in such a relatively short period amount of time? I think the first thing is really when we look into scaling companies, the diversity is crucial. The diversity in terms of talent, the diversity in terms of different backgrounds, and also looking into different industry sectors. So Hong Kong really leverages a very rich entrepreneurial history, being a trading hub and a commerce hub, becoming the financial center of Asia, to then help companies put a tech filter on top of it and then drive new business models, not to use the word disrupt, in all these different areas. So I mentioned fintech is certainly one of the fastest growing subsectors with high double-digit growth rates, and with subsectors such as RegTech and InsurTech really on the forefront and driving that. But once again, health tech is another big focus area in Hong Kong, as well as anything that encompasses under the concept of smart city. And with that, a lot of obviously IoT robotics-related know-how, and I'll talk later about also the advantage of being positioned in Hong Kong when it comes to opportunities to manufacture everything that is hardware-related. But we also have, when we talk about diversity, subsectors that you may not necessarily find in other ecosystems. Again, leveraging our background, things like textile tech, property tech, travel tech, edu-tech. And I saw in some of the commercials here and participants previously at Eday, SnapAsk, right, for one of a wonderfully thriving education technology company and startup here out of Hong Kong. Now, all this is driven, I said, also by a huge diversity of talent, which is true in terms of the age of founders. So it's really great to see that all our fantastic universities, and I think 5 of our universities are actually ranked in the top 100 worldwide globally, all have programs where they support entrepreneurship and help drive the connectivity to the overall startup ecosystem. But also in terms of gender, it's actually one of the more female diverse ecosystems here, which is great to see. And in terms of nationality, so more than 1/3 of founders are not originally here from Hong Kong, and that even holds true for our unicorns, actually. 1/3 of them is built and founded by founders who chose in Hong Kong because of its great advantages. Now, as I said, it's very small in terms of population. I mean, arguably, some of the business sectors in the financial services and B2B sector are not that economically small. But coming back to the fact that it's small and highly connected is actually a huge advantage, right? For you as a new startup or even a startup that comes from overseas into the market that wants to get one thing that you all crave most, which is direct feedback from your consumers and customers, right? You want to understand, can you build traction here in this market? And here we have to say, in terms of technology, we not only have the infrastructure, we have top quality infrastructure, we have the penetration. So just as one key number, the typical smartphone penetration here in Hong Kong is over 200%. And people are really using it. People using not only desktop, but also mobile, using all the different social media networks that we have, the ones from the Western world, also the Chinese social media. And they are really hardcore on it. So we do have companies that come into Hong Kong because they are mobile first or mobile only. Now, I talked about Hong Kong being easy and safe. So right now, unfortunately, we all cannot really travel that much. But the good news is you can even set up your business registration from outside, from overseas. And in 24 hours, you can have a company running here in Hong Kong. Now, the thing is also, Hong Kong always ranks first in terms of IP protection, in terms of investor protection. And really, when it comes about the ease of doing business, again, being totally fluent in English and in Chinese is a huge advantage also for foreign founders. Now, access to funding. Access to funding is in the sense that we will see later on really all the active VCs, the international ones, as well as the Asian ones. The Chinese ones are really active in the region here, which is great to see. And also in terms of family offices and the density of high net worth individuals, we are top ranked. And if now with AngelHub being able to bridge the gap between early seed funding and institutional money, we do have a full fundraising opportunity here for you in Hong Kong. The regulators were, as I mentioned, really keen to open up and allow startups also to participate in that game of innovation in financial services. So for a long time, very, very stringent, now actually becoming a plus, because with the blessing of very strong regulated frameworks, companies are able to thrive and startups are able to be part of the game of innovation in financial services. And then very strategically positioned. So we are here sitting in Hong Kong. Well, once the airports are all open again, within a 5 hours flight radius of half of the world's population, for sure. But also when we talk about being close to all the manufacturing facilities and powerhouse of the Pearl River Delta is one of the reasons why a lot of hardware companies decided to come to Hong Kong and tell us that going from prototyping, rapid prototyping, to mass manufacturing, you can do that as fast as 3 weeks versus 3 months in other parts of the world, or even compared to, for example, the Silicon Valley. Now, you will hear a lot about the Greater Bay Area more and more in the future. And when we think about the Greater Bay Area, what that actually is, it's just not us inventing to have another Bay Area next to the US Bay Area and the Tokyo Bay Area. It's really a area of 70 million people, so already relatively sizable in terms of population. Would bring us higher than France, just after Germany, but also in terms of GDP, and once again in terms of the opportunity it purely provides. I always say if you want to compare it to the US and you're able to put Silicon Valley, Las Vegas, and New York into one area, that's what you have with the Greater Bay Area, where Hong Kong definitely delivers all the advantages I just talked about. And talking about Shenzhen, again, a lot of stats can already prove to you that, for example, 50% of patents in China are filed through Shenzhen. Huge opportunity in terms of access to manufacturing. And you're sitting, for example, in the biggest hardware market. You can sit on top of it. Some of the acceleration programs are sitting on top of it. So just in terms of getting your rapid prototype out of the door is just amazing. I know that we have to wrap it up at some point now. Here, I hope I gave you enough examples on how you can actually leverage the ecosystem here to your advantage. But just again, let the results talk for themselves. So this Greater Bay Area has already given birth to over 40 unicorns. If we take that just again as an example on the capacity of a community to scale companies fast to really sizable level. And with that, some of these companies I'm sure you're really all familiar with, even if you're calling in from somewhere very far away. For example, DJI is a wonderful example of the Greater Bay Area in action, where Frank developed his flight motors at one of the universities in HKUST and then brought and set up the company in Shenzhen. And it's probably one of the few examples where a consumer products company, a leading consumer products company, is from China. WeBank, fantastic company out of the Tencent ecosystem, and it's probably the very first virtual bank. It's a bank that granted loans based on facial recognition and can do 24/7 risk assessment. We talked about SenSam, et cetera. And once again, when I talked about also the investor environment here with all the biggest unicorn capturers in China being very, very active in the region, also in the Greater Bay Area. So I think in terms of what's next, arguably just for those who are not yet here in Hong Kong, taking the plunge and connecting. So a lot of things we want to make sure that you have access to them in terms of resources without needing to pick up a phone or so. Just go on the website, WHub.io, download our white papers. There is one very recent one for the Greater Bay Area as well, if you're interested in the opportunities into scaling into a broader market. And you can already find all information that you need for you to connect to the ecosystem and scale your company here. So with that, I think my time is up. You can also always personally reach out to me under Karena at WHub.io or under angelhub.io. And I'm looking forward to welcoming you and being you and having you part of the ecosystem here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karena, for the sharing. Next, may we invite Ms. Alice So, Head of Entrepreneurship of Hong Kong Cyberport Management Company Limited, to come on stage to share the incubation opportunities offered by Cyberport. Let's welcome Alice.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, TDC, inviting Cyberport and me to have a sharing here, and a pleasure to meet you all here. So, I would like to take a few minutes to explain and also introduce you a very good platform that you can leverage on with the resources, with all the fundings that help you to accelerate. Actually, you heard about Karena talking about Hong Kong, and no matter you're coming from overseas or the local startups, just consider to collaborate with Cyberport for your for your expansion later on. So actually, Cyberport has the vision that we focus to help all the companies in digital technology to expand, to grow, and also find a lot of the partners and for the business success. And so we hope to build the digital technology as a key economic driver in Hong Kong, so that helping everyone leveraging on technology to have a better lives. So in our Cyberport community, actually, we have over 1,500 companies here, big and small, including those big digital tech players like Microsoft, Lenovo, PCCW. We also have SME and startups here. Like we have already 4 unicorns, grown from Cyberport, and including Google Van, Klook, WeLab, and and also TNG. And surely we also have our, the virtual bank, licensee here. Yeah, and also we have the first, virtual insurer like Bowtie here, and we already have 4 virtual licensees in our community. And later on, you will meet Fred from Bowtie. He can share with you more about his experience startup in Cyberport. And here we also welcome the companies not only located in Cyberport in the campus to set up their office, but we also welcome both on-site, off-site companies here, because we actually working on the digital technology platform. So you can consider joining us on-site in the campus, having the synergy, working together, or you may take our virtual platform for the collaboration. And surely, we also connect our companies in the community here with a lot of the investors and also the funding sources. So here, this is the, as a whole, those reported fundraised from our startups in the community. That's a very sharp increase, in the last year. And certainly now, everyone in understanding that the global economy may be a little bit stagnant, but still, we keep on to have the close connections and the interaction with the investors and matching with our companies and startups in the community. So a lot of opportunities is still going on. So here, for the as a whole, the digital platform, we do give a lot of opportunities for our companies in the community for the collaboration. As a startup, funding, capital, as well as the business opportunities are equally important. So Cyberport has the Cyberport set up the Cyberport Investor Network to gather over 100 of the local and regional investors, so that we periodically set up a lot of the matching among the investors and also the startups, getting them the channels to get to having the funding support. And also we also set up the connections strongly with our enterprises in Hong Kong, the big players in different industries, so that our startups can also connect them and then have the solutions being adopted by the enterprises. Surely, this is the channel of the business and also the funding, but surely, because we are in the digital technology platform and also the industry, so we have the on-site a lot of the technology players, as I mentioned, AWS, the Microsoft, those. They are willing to support our startups and the SME in our community to have the technology enhancement. So this is what we want, to build the whole ecosystem, helping the startups and the companies in the community to grow as a whole. So these are the 6 big clusters that we are focusing on. The application, we have a fintech, smart living, esports, digital entertainment. And on the other side, we also have a technology to support them, including the AI, big data, blockchain, and cybersecurities. All the startups in these digital tech related clusters that we definitely support. But for the digital tech, a very broad spectrum. So we do have provide different support to different clusters. And here we have a very, recently we have a very good project, say, braving the epidemic, because due to the COVID-19, a lot of our startups and SME, they want to have collaborative efforts to tackle the COVID together and also benefit to the public. So we have over 50 solutions in the braving the epidemic that can help to handle the COVID and the epidemic, and also helping people to get rid of those threats and the adapting to the new normal. And so a lot of the startups in this program, we help them to not only promoting the solutions to the community, but also exporting to other places and regions so that they can have more business opportunities. And we do have the Act for Fund initiative that's helping the startups to get the government funding, because Hong Kong, our government have initiated a lot of the support especially in the funding sources, to different industries, including our startups and the digital technology. So that's why we have the Entrepreneurial Fund Action that helping them to get the resources from the government. And so one of them is the FAST that we newly launched, helping all the fintech startups and also SME and also the companies in Hong Kong to get the support from the government. They can create a job that are helping, that are recruiting new talents on board, and the government subsidize subsidize them the monthly salary, and then for 24 months scheme, continuously for 10,000 per month, and then consecutively for 12 months. So this already started, and we have 1,000 quota new roles to be created. And so we welcome all the fintech companies that they are interested to approach us, and then we can offer the assistance. Here we have one-stop services providing to the companies from the ideas that you can just try out from our Cyberport Creative Microfund that we offer support and the seed funding to you, and then you can establish your company and then join our incubation program. Definitely, we also encourage you to join Worldwide Accelerator Support Program, and we provide funding to you, to go abroad and explore global opportunities. And for the market expansion over the world, and that's very important. And surely, all these actually are all free money, I can say, because we don't take any equity. Finally, if we got very high potential startups and also companies, then we will also invest our own money. This is the Cyberport Macro Fund that it is actually a co-investment funding, and we want to draw the attention of the private investor that they can also put in money to co-invest in the startups together. And this is what we provide to the companies to have the funding sources more. So as a whole, not only the programs, we also have the smart space co-working spaces. So you could consider, if you're coming to Hong Kong, the very first site, you no need to incorporate in Hong Kong at the very beginning. Just join the co-working space, trying out the facilities and also the services, and then you started to incorporate in Hong Kong. So this is what we offer here. So upcoming, just some advertising for the application deadline for our CCMF, also the incubation program will be on the 3rd of August. I have mentioned all the networks that we are having our partners on board that can provide a lot of support to the startups. And surely in our campus, we have a lot of adoption sure. This is especially for our smart living application. You can find a lot of amazing, interesting solutions adopted in our campus as a trial, okay? And also signature events, not only hosted by Cyberport, we also collaborate with like a close partner like TDC that we will encourage our companies to join so that they can get more exposure. So as a whole, here are some of our brilliant companies in the community, and we welcome you all come over and then join together and have more collaboration. So today, this is what I want to introduce to you, and hope that you have a very good development both in Hong Kong and also in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you very much. May we now invite Mr. Fred Ngan, co-founder and co-CEO of Bowtie Life Insurance Company Limited, to share with us. Please welcome Fred.
Hi, my name is Fred. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Bowtie. We are the first virtual insurer in Hong Kong. In the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to share my personal journey from an actuary to an entrepreneur, and how we actually started as a small company as a Cyberport incubatees, and ultimately founding a number of insurance tech company, and later on follow our dream to actually found the first virtual insurance in Hong Kong. So this is actually a picture of me back in 2015 when I decided to quit my job as a consulting actuary. I spent, before starting my own company, I spent the first 10 years actually working as a consulting actuary in different cities, in Toronto, Hong Kong, Chicago, and then London. I always got this passion to start my own company. So at that point, I decided to quit my job and say, why don't I give it a shot? And later on, the first company that we founded is called Coherent Capital and Season Life. And we actually applied for the CCMF at the Cyberport, which is the micro fund, and also got into the incubatees programs. So we got in, it's a pretty good chance for us to get to meet other entrepreneurs within the community. Sometimes starting a new company can be pretty lonely, so you want to actually meet some peers and also learn together and share some of the challenges and see how we can leverage each other's experience. And this is actually a picture of us in the Cyberport Angel Investor pitch training. They put you on a stage and they want you to experience and try to practice pitching. And I remember this funny comment that I got at that point back in 2017 that your pitch is actually as boring as insurance. So I think there's actually a lot of ways that I could have improved my pitch. But that was some pretty good training provided by the VC, provided by the lecturer, and we do have a lot of takeaway at that point. Another thing that I really like is, as part of an entrepreneur, is you're surrounded by people who have a lot of passion. You're surrounded by people who have a lot of energy. It's such a good learning culture. And I'm still learning a lot right now. I'm still listening to a book every month. I'm still trying to find ways to improve. There's a lot of challenges as an entrepreneur, as a CEO right now. But learning is actually part of our job, especially in the early days. So at the beginning, we try to apply for different awards, and this is again recommended by Cyberport. It's not about winning the award; it's about the journey. It's about how you actually prepared, how you actually go through the award applications, trying to address all these questions, understanding how to size the market, how do you apply for funding, how do you recruit a team, what are the pain points you're trying to solve. So these are some of the things that you want to go through when you actually work on a real business case. And on the right, you see this is one of the biggest conferences in Hong Kong. It's the RISE conference. And I happen to find my own picture there. And so I actually take a picture of myself, with myself. This is actually a booth at the Cyberport. In 2018, at that point, we got about a team of 30 people. We were deciding, hey, should we start working as an insurance tech consulting or software company? Or should we actually go ahead and apply for our own insurance company license? Because back in 2017, September, we heard about the announcement that there will be a virtual license. There will be a sandbox. Encourage company to go digital to promote the high protection element products. So we actually went ahead to apply for that. And if we fast forward, right, this is actually 2018 now. We win the first license. So this is a picture of us with the insurance authority. You see, look at the picture, it's actually evening. So we have been working days and nights to get the license. The vision that we have is that we actually want to use tech to make insurance affordable so that it's actually available to everyone. It's actually a huge milestone for us to actually win this license as a local company. So we actually take a lot of pride about this. And since then, I've been very actively sharing our entrepreneurial story. It's something that we have been working very closely with the Cyberport. So as part of this, we dare to venture. They provide us some video interview. They put us on the advertisements to see us on the bus. There's a lot of interesting sharing and something that I actually personally enjoy. And beside that, and also about promoting the Hong Kong insurance tech, we have been working very closely together to present at the AFF, which is the Asia Financial Forum, twice in 2018 and 19. And we also sit at the Internet Economy Summit. It's something that we really enjoyed. To just so to wrap it up with some personal learning in the last 5 years, I think when you work on a startup, it has to be something that you really believe in, because you will struggle. You will work on that days and nights. It has to be something that you have a lot of passion about. Otherwise, it's very easy to give up. The other thing is find a team that believes in your vision. You don't want to find a team that actually join you because of the salary, because of the benefit. Remember, the people who actually believe in your vision is someone that will follow you until the end. And also pick a battle. I have seen a lot of companies trying to work on something that the battle is too big, like the dream is too big. They don't know how to decompose. They don't know how to break it down into smaller parts so that they can divide and conquer. So pick a specific pain point to solve. One example I gave is if you want to build a Ferrari, right? You might start with building engines or wheel as opposed to trying to build a car in day one, because you won't have enough resources. You won't have enough manpower to start. So might as well just start small. So don't aim for the 1% of the mass market, trying to tackle a smaller market and trying to win 50%. As opposed to making 100 people, as opposed to making 1,000 people like your product, make 100 people love your products. And also at the end, you can't just be like 10% better. You have to aim for like 10x better, because this is how you have a sustainable advantage over the competitors. The MVP, this is very important. Don't wait for the perfect products. So you want to start early. You want to ship and iterate. I like how the LinkedIn founder mentioned, if you are not embarrassed by your first version of the products, you might be starting late. So build MVP and just keep on iterating. Prove the product market fit. There's nothing more important than this one, because at the end, you want to make sure the consumer, they're actually a consumer who want to buy your products. You want to make sure that the consumer actually know how to use your platform. So make sure you test the product market fit, because otherwise you don't want to focus on the wrong problem, like scaling or other things. Like, make sure the product that you introduce is something that the market needs. And this one I really like. It's a calculus over the statistic. It's a book that I recently just finished 2 days ago. Sometimes as actuaries, we focus so much on the statistic. I also have a double major in statistics. Sometimes you tend to make decisions based on the odds, but sometimes the odds go against you as a startup. 90% of the startup fail within the first 2 years. So that's why it's interesting to say that you want to focus on the calculus. You want to focus on solving the problem. You want to focus on improving the odds. So don't get distracted don't get discouraged when you know that it's only 10% succeed. You want to keep on trying. Just focus on calculus. Because if you're a problem solver, keep on solving the right problem, eventually you will get there. And as a last remark, also like this statement about you're not here to learn, you're here to win. So sometimes you work in a corporate world, we're so focused on learning. You focus on learning, but as a startup, you can't just wrap up your learning with a PowerPoint and say, this is what I learned. You want to keep trying. You want to keep trying because you're here to survive. You're here to learn. So these are some of the personal learning that I have in the past 5 years. At the end, I just want to say we have been very lucky to be part of the ecosystem. So I just want to say a lot of thanks to the TDC and also Cyberport. Sometimes, again, being an entrepreneur can be quite lonely, but you want to work in a community, you want to learn from each other. So I'm pretty lucky that Hong Kong has this interesting ecosystem so that we can be part of that and keep on learning. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Fred, for the insightful sharing. Now may we invite Mr. Gallen Leung, Senior Manager for Incubation Programs from Hong Kong Science and Technology Parks Corporation, to share how Science Park has nurtured startups for a thriving digital future of Hong Kong. Please welcome Gallen.
Thank you. So it's very nice to have a chance able to share about Science Park services to the community. Today is the second day of the Entrepreneur Day. Indeed, we do expect met some real startup face-to-face, but by the COVID-19. But I would like to share with you guys about how you go to Science Park to work with you to become a success entrepreneur. So, but where is the Science Park? Indeed, so many people know that it's in Sha Tin. But indeed, we are not only in the park, not only Science Park. We have so many places and to be the combination to become the Science Park Corporation. Besides the Science Park, and also we have Inno Center and 3 industrial estates in Hong Kong. For the Science Park, we focus on the research and development. And Inno Center, we focus on the fintech, design, and digital commerce. For the manufacturing need, we also have the 3 industrial estates for the different corporate and company to join there. But what is really related to the entrepreneur? I would like to share with you guys. So what kind of tech from Science Park maybe you all maybe in the market already enjoying and already used it? So maybe the first thing you can find there's 5 companies here. 2 of them are already unicorn in Hong Kong. It's a Lalamove and SenseTime. And then also, you can find that there are so many incubation graduates in here. The first one may be the silicon. Maybe you will find that there are DNA logos there, but what is it? So if you get married and your wife got pregnancy, maybe your doctor will tell you that, let's have a test T21. So this is one of the key products from this Incubio graduate. Also, Lalamove. Maybe you can find so many vans out there that the logo. So I will not mention in very detail. But I would like to tell you that this is one of the unicorn from Science Park and also the Incubate app graduates. Next is the SenseTime. SenseTime, they have a very good AI platform. But after they become tenants in Science Park, they have a very good opportunity to dealing with the China government and have a face recognition solution, and then now become one of the unicorn. Also, Feno Labs. Feno Labs is also very strong in AI. It's one of the they're very good in the AI technology, and one of the incubation graduate from us. And also, they have a Horizon Venture investment. This is the first Hong Kong company got invested. And finally, maybe you can find the Hanson Robotics. It's also one of our incubation graduate from Science Park. And also, it's one of the acceleration program, Accelerate call it program in the park, is also part of us. Why I mention this kind of company? Because if you are entrepreneurs and you are going to become a startup, Science Park able to help you to power your success. You can see the path. You can find that the step is the first stage, and then become the incubation. And then if you're able to become expansion stage, you're going to the acceleration program, and maturity become our tenant. So what I share with you before, the 5 companies, they also have this kind of identity. Okay, so maybe why I'm not introduce myself? I will introduce myself right now. I'm Gallen, the head of STEP program in Science and Technology Park Corporation. So because I'm now introduced STEP program. So what is STEP program? Maybe you find the path before. The STEP program is to help the entrepreneur in Hong Kong from idea to business reality. So how we help the teams? The first is the idea. If you have a very good idea, so let's come to us. We will help you. And how? And we will equip you become very success team in the 1-year program. After 1 year, we will help you to execute, to go through the business venture preparation after complete all the business venture preparation. So how we deliver? Actually, we have got five approach. The first thing, we will offer you the grant. For the 1-year program, we offer you 100,000 Hong Kong dollars for your ideas validation. Second, we will provide you training and then coaching. Even now, you can become one of the startup in the STEP program. We will offer you the community. Besides these 4, we hope able to help the team to become one of the key of success to become our incubatee in Science and Technology Park Corporation. So that's our approach. For the 1-year program, we will have 3 milestones. The first thing, when you have a very good idea, you come to us, become our stepper. We will focus on your value proposition to know that is this a very good case or not. After you tell us your story, we will let you have 4 months' time to show us the market validation from your team. If you also pass the milestone, you are able to go to the final stage for the prototyping. In the first stage, the first milestone, you are able to get 20,000 Hong Kong dollars for support fund. And the second milestone and third milestone, we will get another 40,000 Hong Kong dollars. So how you help you success? You can find that we have different kind of supports in the bottom. We have training, coaching, and even have able to help you to meet the business partners and even investment advisor. So that's what we support you time. But after 1 year, what we do expect, as I just mentioned, we do want to help the team to become incubatee. So this is a secret that if you join STEP program, you're more able to know more about how to become successful incubatee in the very soon future. Firstly, we will check your case, and then we'll have different kind of consultation session with you. We hope they're able to help you to become one of the success incubatee in the very soon future. So after mentioned and after so many things, so how you're able to apply and what requirement? It's very simple. Indeed, if you have a very good idea, very innovative idea, and technology related, so we will listen to you. But beside the idea, also people is very important. So if you are individual, it's okay. We also accept your case to explore is it possible to become startup. You form a company. If it's less than 1 year, no worry, just come to us. But if you have a team but not form a company yet, it's also okay. So feel free to approach us to learn more about. But we also have our own criteria. In this 4 sessions is the team. If your team is good or not. You have a strong R&D or not. Is this innovativeness or not? And then is this have potential to have business development or not? So this is the evaluation criteria of STEP program. Also, it's incubation and leap acceleration program of Science Park. Okay, so it's the application timeline. So coming in September, we'll have the 5th cohort for the STEP program. So let's mark down the schedule and don't forget to apply to become one of the startup in the ecosystem of Science Park. But after joining STEP for 1 year program, so what is the next to the role to the entrepreneur in the Science Park? After you become STEP program, complete or become graduate, you can apply for the incubation program. For incubation program, there are 2 key incubation programs in the park. One is IncuApp and another is IncuTech. For IncuApp program, it's 2 years program, most focused supporting tech application and business innovation team. And the 3 years program is IncuTech program. We're supporting significant R&D and deep tech company and startup. So what we support? Supporting financial funding, working premises, technical support, and business support. So after if you become very good team after the incubation program, we will also have another support, say, LEAP program, it's an acceleration program. The very impressive is the 4 million value as support financial packages, and also able to help you to meet the industry mentors and even help you to boost yourselves. Okay, so this is the path of the startup community in Science and Technology Park Corporation. But today, I'm not the key. I would like to invite one of my very success graduate from STEP program, Jason. Here. He's Areix from Areix company to introduce and share with us about his success in the STEP program. Okay, so. Okay, thank you, Jason.
Thank
so
you,
really nice to have a chance to have a conversation, very special one, right? We had so many conversations before. Okay, so let's introduce yourself and tell the guests and tell the visitor what you're doing and what's your company, okay?
So, thank you, Gallen. And I'm Jason, the co-founder and CEO of Areix. And Areix Analytics Limited is a fintech company in Hong Kong Science Park. And we build robot assistants for wealth management to help the users to manage the budget and to invest for achieving financial goals. So we noticed that nowadays millennials like us suffering from overspending and poor budgeting problems. And another thing that we find very difficult and time-consuming to look for the right product that best suits our needs. And it's very time-consuming to calculate the product impact on the cash flow. So another point we figure out is there is a product need matching gap between millennials and the traditional banks. So in fact, there are a lot of budget apps and marketplace apps in the market. However, it seems that none of them provide a seamless and end-to-end approach that help the users to manage and to navigate from manage the budget to investment and to goal fulfillment. And this is where Areix step in and position itself. So by leverage the deep learning and advanced analytic capabilities, will help our users to identify the cold money after to reduce the unnecessary expense and to transform the cold money into investment. And with Areix, users are able to articulate the actionable plans and to spend money wiser and choose products smarter.
It's great. So it's very special fintech solution in STEP program, right? Anyway, so when you form your company, so when you join the STEP program, and why you join the STEP program at the same time when you 1 year before? Because you just graduate and become incubatees in Science Park. So I would like to learn more about it.
Sure. Well, I joined STEP program in 2019 April as the first cohort of STEPper. And after I finished the academy program in a software company in the United States as a data scientist, I came back to Hong Kong and I participated in the Techathon co-organized by Hong Kong Science Park and several universities in Hong Kong. And luckily, we won the championship in fintech. And at that time, we really want to actualize the idea. And as a techie, I know that we need several support and a lot of resources. So from someone we not really know, and when we get to know the STEP program through the competitions, and we know that it's a great chance and platform for us to actualize the idea, form the company, and turn the idea into business. And also, we noticed that the STEP program tells us it's not just they emphasize on the R&D element, but however, building the product itself is not just R&D, and it's all about not just building a great product in my eyes, but also in users and our end customer eyes. That's why STEP program will be a good milestone for us to get in.
It's great. So it means that from a year ago, it's just an idea, and you also have your own job. But after 1 year, you make your ideas become a company and reality. So how you make it?
So actually, Hong Kong Science Park and the STEP program provide a very comprehensive package, not just the direct ground, but also the coaching and the training. It's very comprehensive because for the coaching, we have a close relationship with account manager, and then they provide feedback and advice to help us to really understand the market. Really try to, or before we go to prototyping, we try to do market validation to understand the value proposition of our business and how to cater to customer needs. And also for the training part, like financing, accounting, all kinds of aspects you have to take into consideration when running a startup. They provide a very good assistance as well. Not to mention is, more important is the network. They provide us the network to reach out to experts from all walks of life.
It's great. So you also mentioned you maybe from the STEP program, you have funding, network, and also have an opportunity to meet your customer, right?
Correct.
It's very great. But in here, I would like to know that for the last year, maybe you quit your job. But after 1 year, what's your big achievement of your company's success? Don't mention just only incubation, but what the real success and achievement in the last year?
Last year is actually a very fruitful year for Areix because we won 9 awards in 12 months. And yeah, but the awards or the recognition is the result. But the journey we begin is with the help of STEP program and Hong Kong Science Park. And we built a very solid team and concrete to showcase our capability with using APIs, open banking APIs, and also in the merge with our data science capabilities to showcase the way we build robot assistant and to help our users in a more hyper-personalized way and customer goal-centric approach.
It's great. So you mentioned API and also have an advertisement here. In Science Park, there are a new program called API Eco Booster. We try to make the data alive. So let's go to our webpage to search API Eco Booster, and now we're going to recruit. Maybe your team is related to API. Let's join us. So finally, I would like to have a last question. So now a year passed, and now you're incubatees in the Science Park. But if you're not joining us, not joining STEP program 1 year ago, what do you think you're right now a very special startup, and what do you think?
If I didn't join STEP program, maybe I'm not here today. And this is because STEP program is a good foundation for us to not just to build our own product, but also offer a comprehensive package so that we know how to figure out the problems in many operational administrative stuff in Hong Kong, building a startup. And yeah, you can through Hong Kong Science Park to find a way out. And also, through the support, it saves us a lot of time, and we can focus on the R&D and the product need matching into the market. So that right now we are very thankful that we build some researcher connection with Oxford University and City University. We got PhD support in data science and so on and so forth. So that's very fruitful.
It's great. So I hope you can keep in the park and enjoying our funding and support in the very soon future. So your Incubate program, so maybe still a year to go. I hope you have a great success.
Thank you.
And also, thanks today. And do remember, if you are one of the entrepreneurs listening and really want to build your own business in Hong Kong, don't miss the chance to become one of the startups in Science Park ecosystem, because you will be able to enjoy the support from STEP program, incubation program, and accelerator program called LEAP. Thanks today, and really happy able to have a chance to join Entrepreneur Day with Hong Kong DDC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gallen and Jason, for the sharing. Please remain on stage, and let's welcome back Alice and Fred to join us for the Q&A session. You're still welcome to raise questions through the Q&A box next to the video frame. So for the first question, shall we start with that for Fred? And so how did you meet your first investor?
That was a long time ago, so I have to think.
Do you recall any?
Well, we actually, our first investors are angel investors. Mm-hmm. The first company we have is a consulting and analytics company. So at that point, we focus a lot on trying to turn the business into cash flow positive. So I would say we actually didn't raise any funding in the first 2 years. But at some point, we did have a small round with the angel and also the Hong Kong X. It's a Hong Kong X tech platform. That one is more about the coaching and getting into that ecosystem as well. So that was the first experience. But later on, then we have a bigger round with Sun Life for the Bowtie and setting up the first virtual insurance company. So I would say that is more like a real VC round. So that was a 30 million round. To go through at least like 6 months to close the application. So that was quite not an easy journey. But in terms of the first investors, really the angel investors to begin with.
All right. So how about Jason? Could you share with us a little bit about your first time meeting the investors?
Well, the first time for meeting with investors, because I just graduated from STEP program, maybe the investor, I would just treat Gallen. The first time we met him is kind of interesting because as a techie, I build a product, and I think that's great, that's cool. But when I meet Gallen, it's like, your business model is not good enough. And that's the way you have a conversation. I was like shocked, oh my God, the sky's falling down. And then his guidance, he advised me how to think out of the box and just brainstorming. The product right now doesn't really mean something. But when you brainstorm and think of the box, how to cater for your target customer needs, that's the key. So that you can let it understand, the customer understand that the value of your products. So that's one of the interesting facts with Karena at that time.
Thank you. So here's a question for maybe Gallen and Alice. So how do you see the prospects of the travel tech sector? Do you have any incubatees from the travel tech sector that you can share with us?
Yeah, sure. Actually, one of our unicorn, Klook, is in the travel tech sector. Surely, I think at the very beginning, I think for every startup, the journey is not easy. Anyway, it's quite challenging. But you know, in Hong Kong, actually, travel is a very promising industry. From time to time. And though now COVID they faces a lot of challenges in this sector. But in any case, you know, for Hong Kong people worldwide, everyone loves you know, traveling. So The sector actually is under the travel tech is actually under our smart living cluster. So we helping them, connecting with different, collaborative partners. Yeah, letting them growing from a small company up to a unicorn in a way. Yeah, they are one of our incubatees. Now is already our alumni. And we are so great that they are among the 4 unicorns in Cyberport. They are one of the 3 that's from our incubation program. So I think in the travel tech cluster, not only focusing on the traveling, actually, they are also building a whole ecosystem, working with different, companies and also clusters like e-payment. Okay, that's the fintech. Like, the IoT wearables. Yeah, they also have some gadgets that's helping people when traveling. Yeah, they can enjoy that comfort and also leisure. And also, they also connecting, with the, restaurants, yeah, with the, the platform in the catering. So, and also hotel, definitely. So, as a whole, actually, they're also building as an ecosystem as well, and working with other companies and then collaborating and grow each together. So what Cyberport are helping is how to linking all those connections together and building a very even bigger ecosystem. So not only focusing on their own industry, but we provide them different channels, and then also open their eyes and then let them think out of the box, different opportunities, yeah, that could be possible in a way. Yeah.
Okay. For travel tech, actually, maybe we using another angle, because there's so many startups in our community, we will help the travel tech company like this. We have a program called GAA, Global Acceleration Academy. This acceleration program helping not only the startup, also the corporate and even the community companies. So we are now have a new program in the GAA working with different hotels in Hong Kong. And for the details, I will tell you that let's go to our webpage, you will find the detail. And how it works, for the GAA program, for a startup, if they have a very strong, very good solution, and then just mentioned, we have around 10 to 13 hotels joining this GAA program for the hospitality. And they are able to share the technology and adopt to these hotels. And then we hope we are able to help the startup to drive the startup and able to get the revenue, and not only revenue, also a platform for them to testing and make the ideas become reality. So it's just like I mentioned and present in the PowerPoint. So that's maybe not only for the travel tech, also and other technology related, we have this kind of support for the startup community in Science Park.
I see. So here's another question more about experience sharing. So maybe Jason, you can take that question. How do you form your team and build connections?
Well, the journey for me to build a team is, because the tech here, I've just explained, try the microservices, is they serve one particular purpose. When I want to build my startup, I look for what problem I would like to solve, and what kind of support I have to look for, and so that I will look for a particular person to solve problems. So like it's just like playing Legos, to stack all the stuff and with the right key skill set, and to form a team with all the skill set you need.
All right. So now maybe for Fred, have you thought of setting up your startup in other places instead of Hong Kong? If then, what would it be?
Yeah, for sure. Right now, we are licensed in Hong Kong, but we do want to expand internationally. But it's very important that we prove Hong Kong first before we go somewhere else. Our business model is very scalable, like in terms of like setting up the R&D, building the tech. The insurance needs is actually very similar in other parts of the world. So we're constantly looking at the Greater Bay and also the Southeast Asia. Our investor is Sun Life, so we might work with them to expand into other part of the countries. But it really depends on do they have a virtual insurance license in other part of the world? What is the reason for entering their markets? If there's any trigger points, is there any like distribution or partnership that we can use? We don't just expand for the sake of expanding. I think it's very important that we find that entry point before we go into the news market.
Yes, that's right. So here we got a question about the STEP program. Gallen, it's your turn again. So are startups who apply existing technology in a new market space instead of developing new tech eligible for the program?
So let me explain like this. If the team have a very good idea, whatever maybe you just mentioned, maybe related to the new technology, or maybe you're focusing on the existing market, but you have a very innovative ideas, is also qualified to become one of the STEP program, STEPper. But don't forget, just mentioned in the PowerPoint, if your company form more than a year, it's not qualified. Okay. I suggest that maybe you're individual or maybe have your own team. So let's come to us and discuss with us and join us.
Okay, sure. So one last question for Alice maybe. So what are the tools or some programs you guys are offering for startups to meet with potential investors as usual, like now that we have the COVID-19 pandemic and they can't meet like physically. So are there any special arrangement for them?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think at the moment all goes virtual, you can say. Yeah, so we do, as I mentioned, we do have the Cyberport Investor Network that housing over 100 regional and the global and then also local investors. So we arrange the matching online, yeah, so that they can meet our startups and then have the pitching, yeah, and then directly contact with the potential companies. And surely we also, from time to time, we also organize different, networking among the investors. Yeah, because they do need partners sometimes, and also co-investment, together. And this is also that's why we set up the Cyberport Micro Fund. That is actually the co-investment funding, working with the individual investors. So they will group together also. Yeah. So all those could do online, definitely.
I see. That's great. All right. So thank you all for such an inspiring and fruitful discussion. I hope our audience would enjoy this as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
So coming to the end of this session, feel free to scan the QR code on the screen to send us your feedback. You may also click on the link below event description under the video frame to fill out the questionnaire. We hope you enjoy and take the most from the event for developing your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you.